Hello friends, in this video I am going to introduce to a language C++. Rather than only saying C++, I must say it is C++11. So let's begin. We will discuss what are the features of C++11, why it has been introduced, and what is the history and all. So let's start. Here, C++ language is known as in three different ways. The first one is general purpose programming language. Secondly, object-oriented programming language. And thirdly, low-level programming language. Let me tell you in short why this is so. C++ is a general purpose programming language because it has been used in a different domains to implement projects in different domain, different application. It was not there in previous case. In C++11, few features are newly introduced, and because of that it is possible to capture all different verticals, segments to implement the project. And C++ is widely and popularly used as a programming language. So it is called as general purpose programming language. Now the second name or the second concept given here is object oriented programming language. C++ based on OOP features, object oriented features. These are classes, objects, inheritance, derived classes, virtual functions, abstraction, etc. All these concepts we are going to learn when our course progress. Here, let me tell you the difference in between procedure oriented and object oriented programming in short. We will discuss in detail in upcoming videos. Look, now I am going to tell you two different sentences. The first one is, you all are listening to me. Listen carefully. First sentence is, you all are listening to me. And the second sentence is, let's say Amit is listening to me. So can you guess what is the difference here? Look, in first sentence, I am focusing on the operation, action, and that action is listening. So you all are listening to me. I am not pointing to any person specifically, but second sentence tells about the specific person, that is object, who is listening to me, that is Amit is listening to me. So this is the difference, the raw sentence or the raw difference in between procedure oriented and object oriented. Look, you might have learned, you might have read this particular line, procedure oriented programming language emphasis on procedures, that is functions. And secondly, object oriented programming language, as name itself indicates, emphasis on objects. Here the process or the action is listening. In the first case, the object doesn't matter, only the action, that listening, is more important, wherein in second case object is very important, and secondly the process or the action. So Amit, that this object is focused rather than the action. Once object is fixed, then action is invoked on that object. Yes, I hope this is clear to all. Object oriented programming language. Yeah. Now the thirdly, it is called as low-level programming language. As I said previously, new features of C++11, because of which many domains are captured by C++ language. For example, the low-level programming means here C++ is also used in a system-level programming. More inclined to implementing such applications can be embedded or can be a part of operating system. That's why it is called as low-level programming, like device driver programming, system-based softwares, which are mainly used in embedded system domain. Well, let's move to the next point. Let us discuss some historical statements of C++. Author named as Bernie Stroustrup is a Danish computer scientist. He actually started his work in 1979, named as C with classes. Here, this C with classes, he wanted to actually develop a language which is more simpler and efficient than C. That's why he named it as C++ classes. But it is a predecessor to C++, wherein the C with classes, this name is replaced by an actual language name called as C++. He actually motivated from his PhD thesis work and came up with the new programming language C++. Here C++ it was developed at Bell Laboratories. Since 1979 he was working on it as an extension and came up with as an extension of C language. You may say like this. He wanted an efficient and flexible language similar to C, which was provided high-level features for program organization. This word is very important. Program organization. Here the main feature or the main concept of introducing OOP feature, that is object oriented programming feature, is organizing the program, putting the things in a different parts, making classes, creating their objects and reusing all that code, making our program modular. So whatever the complex task or assignment is there that need to be divided into simpler form, and the same code can be repeated, can be reused as and when required. So our program becomes more readable, getting more simpler, and reusability can be achieved. And the same features are that is given by the OOP are implemented by different languages which are more and more popular in a current market like Java, C Sharp, etc., Python. So it was the OP feature followed first time in a C++ and introduced by author Strauss Trupp. Great work done by him. Well, I have discussed or I already said rather than saying C++, you must say C++11. We must say C++11. But do you know the difference in between only C++? Here as I mentioned C++98 and C++11. Okay, not to worry, let me tell you. Here, the ideas more clearly, more simply, and more directly implemented in C++11. You please consider this as a single word. It is by mistake came to the new line C++11 than in C++98. So we feels like it is a new language. Yeah, it's right. So what is difference here? The C++ language was introduced in 1979, but to make accept it universally, the language construct that has to be followed by all the compilers on different platform, different operating system, the standardization part is very important, and it was made initially at very first time in 1998. So this C++ programming language was initially standardized in 1998 by the organization called as ISO. ISO stands for International Organization for Standardization. You might have heard about this ISO organization, which gives standardization for different either technical non-technical domains. That's why it is called as C++98. Here this 98, this number actually refers to the year in which C++ standardization has occurred. It's as simple as nothing different. So whatever the concepts are introduced in this C++ language, they are finalized in year 1998. That's it. So can you guess about C++11? Yeah, it is also related to the standardization of the language only. Yes, and it was done that committee revision to the standardization has done by that committee in 2011 and major changes has taken place. And that's why it is called as C++11 revision, and it is actually a revolution in this language. So here C++ Standards Committee issued a major revision to the ISO C++ standard and came up with a new language called as C++11. Well, not C++11, they have stopped themselves. They have started continuing their work of standardizing the things, introducing the new features, and the standard is due in July 2017. It is C++17, and it is very near when we can have the C++11 standard language. The draft, by following the draft, many compilers currently has introduced the features of C++17 standard. So in July 2017, we hope the C++17 standard is available to we people. Before that, let us learn very fast C++11 so that we can cope up with the current market. See the gap in between the year in which we are learning and when it was developed. Let it be. There is a when we start, it is going to be happen. So not to worry. Let's start. And again, they have planned next standard thereafter is C++20 in the year of 2020. Fine. So this is what about standardization of C++. Now, what are the primary goals? When the standard it was thought to be developed. The three major parts they have taken care of. So what these primary goals have considered while standard is being developed or draft is being written. The first point is make the language more uniform and easier to teach as well as to learn. Yes, it is right. So it must be simple to teach as well as to learn, and uniformness of the language is maintained throughout different platforms, which are because we find different compilers, different linkers on different hardware system and different platforms. So there should be a uniformity in whenever we change the platform, the concept or the implementation things must be common one. And it was the major goal to develop a standard. So on different platforms, we feel like same language features like Java, which is a platform independent. Yes, do you know it? So similarly, we find the uniformity in the language constructs, which was given by the standardization. So can you think on doing standardization means what? What you find it or what do you think on it? See, it's very simple. Making standardization of language means putting all the language construct in a single form. Okay, so this is a simple task. So if I do programming on a platform called as Linux or maybe Windows or maybe Macintosh or something else, language constructs are going to be common on every platform, and the libraries defined or the APIs given by the C++ that are common to all. That is called as standardization. Now the second thing or the second goal is make the standard libraries easier, safer and more efficient to use. This is very important point. In C++11 we find the huge standard library introduced, and because of that only different verticals are added in C++, and that's why C++ became more popular and will become in a future. So this standard library provides different APIs. By making use of those, we can make programming or develop a project easily and effectively. The third part or the third primary goal is make it easier to write efficient abstraction and libraries, which is the main feature of object-oriented programming framework. Here, the implementation part is hidden so that end user or programmer is unaware about it. They are going to make use of those services and they are not going to bother about how they have implemented. So it is the actually feature, that is abstraction is the feature of OOP, because of which the implementation details are hidden, so that one kind of security is maintained over here. So we are not going to see, or we are not going to touch the actual service implemented, the actual code implemented. Here we are being, though we are a programmer, we are going to make use of only those services. We are not going to enter into that. So it is the abstraction is provided, and one kind of security is maintained in C++. So it is more secure because of this program organization structure. These are the primary goals. Now what are the features implemented? So here, what can be modern C++ thought of? Here, this modern C++ can be thought of as a comprising of three parts only. These three parts through which the C++ is developed, or it is made up of. The first thing is the low-level language, much of which is inherited from C. Like C has a language construct like variables, statements, constant, control flow, functions, etc. While discussing the syllabus, I have shown that all these things which are very common to C. So that's why I said the one who is aware about the C language, the things are going to be more simpler and clear very easily. But as I said, not to worry, even though you are very new to programming, it's my duty, or it's my assurance that even though a newbie student is learning this course, definitely you will understand all the things from the scratch. Yeah, that is why it is so that is why the features of C are inherited. That's why called as low level language, because C is also low level language. C++ can be thought of as an extension to the C, but C++ its implementation or program writing style, APIs, libraries is very different as compared with the C. But some basic basic construct of the language, they are inherited as like C only. Second part, it is more advanced language features that allow us to define our own data types and to organize large-scale programs and the system. In in C, we have only built-in data types. But with the help of typedef, we can create our own data types, no doubt, but with the help of only built-in data types, is it not? But in C++ or in this object-oriented programming feature, it allows us to define our own types with the help of classes, with the help of templates. We can go for generic programming, which is helpful to organize our program at large scale. For example, if part of the module is applicable for one type of data and the same module can be reused for another type of data, yes, it can be possible with the help of templates, classes, and generic programming. So a general view is given in this C++ language. So this is a major building block of the C++. The third one is standard library, and it is very important part of the C++. The API, application programming interface, is given by this standard library, which are used or which uses these advanced features to provide useful data structures and algorithms. Many data structures like iterators, lambda expressions, different algorithm implementation, they are implemented by the standard library. So we can cross-check our the programming logic and the APIs or the functionalities given by the standard library. So because of which the programming become more easier and faster. Well, I hope the introductory part to the C++, right from the naming convention to the history and the concept, is understood to you people. And in the last slide, I am going to tell you the scope of the C++ as a programming language. Look here. We only learn the languages, like learning the syntax, but we are, being a student, are unaware about where this programming language is being used as a part of curriculum or as a part of structure provided by some organization, or which is given in a book. We start studying and implement the programs. Yeah, this style at the very first step is accepted, but once you reach to at some level, you should know the scope of the language. That means in which different areas, in which different domains the language is being can be used. So few points I have enlisted here. Definitely we are going to implement some different small projects in different domains as a part of our course curriculum. Fine. So desktop based application. Here many majorly C++ is used to implement desktop based application only in previous scenarios. Like you may take any example wherein a single desktop machine can be used, any application. So I hope this point is clear to you, like medical store, like book selling point, then hospital management, library management. These all are desktop-based applications are can be implemented by C++, and rather than going to the C language, C++ is the good choice because it provides the good modularity and the program organization structure. Secondly, GUI based application. If you are following the Linux platform, then you have a good tool called as a Qt. It's a quick toolkit through which you can go for GUI based programming, and it is developed in a C++ language. Yeah, Qt supports C++, and in turn the C++ provides or the gives a way to go for GUI based application development. I hope GUI this is clear to you. Being a trainer, I must tell you, even though you know or you are not knowing, the GUI is graphical user interface. So whatever we see or interact with the project, like different interfaces or resources like text box, combo box, button, window size, coloring, styles, etc. So this is what the user interface. So it is a graphical user interface can be developed by using C++ language, and if you follow the quick toolkit Qt software, then things become more simpler rather than going for desktop based or command line approach. Okay, this is the second domain where we can use C++ very effectively. The newly introduced domains are, the first one is an embedded applications. Here, low-level programming is now possible with C++. That's why embedded domain is now also open to the C++. Here, the third domain is embedded application, where low-level programming is required, and because of the new features present in C++ 11, the low-level programming is now possible, and because of which the embedded system, this huge domain and the very popular domain is open to the C++. And third is network app-based application, like programming through the sockets, pipe, communication oriented is also possible with C++. Okay, this is what the scope of C++ language and C++ 11 standard. So I hope points are clear to you. Now let's see see you again in a new chapter, new lecture video. Thank you, and I request you to visit synecusaquilum.com site and sign up yourself and see the details about C++ course and more other courses as well. Thank you.